And welcome back to another video of the UPSC series. In today's video, we'll cover the Geography Chapter 1 from NCERT, the Earth in the Solar System. But before starting on the chapter, I would like to say a few things. The reason especially for why this video is so delayed. Recently, I've been really busy. The past few days, I really didn't get any time, and the reason for that will really shock you. So, I'll tell you the reality of today's universities. So I gave an entrance test for both Punjab University and MDU or Maharishi Dayanand University, which is in Rohtak. Both are public universities. It is funded by the government. So I got ninth rank in MDU University, but when I went on the day of counseling, I mean my results from BA, since I did it from IGNOU, obviously, as most of you already know, the results are not declared yet. So one of the prerequisites for getting admission was that you must have your graduation results by the date of first counseling. So, but still, nevertheless, I went to the first counseling, thinking that I might be able to convince them to give me admission because it was not my fault that I didn't get my graduation results, obviously, right? But I went there and they failed. They denied to give me admission. They said that they cannot give me admission because I did not have my graduation results. And the same thing is going for Punjab University. That department is also, keep on notifying me to admit my graduation results, but I don't have my graduation results. So how am I supposed to submit it to them? So due to this, I don't know what to say to it, but because of IGNOU, my admission got cancelled into such good universities, right? I mean, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't me who gave the admission, who gave examinations on some later date or who skipped my examination. I gave all of my examination properly on time. But they are the ones who did not declare the results. They are the ones who actually held examination so late when most of the universities were awaiting for their results. That was the time when they actually held examinations in June and July. This is what made the result process so long. Okay, and because of that, despite the hard work, despite my clearing the entrance examinations for both the universities successfully and achieving good ranks, I did not get admission in any of the universities, and this has put my academic future in grave danger, right? I mean, I'll just have to waste a complete year and then take admission next year. So what should I do these 6 months, 7 months? They just got wasted completely, right? So this is an anomaly in the IGNOU University itself. This is a grave fault on their part that endangers the students' future very much. And the second thing is when I went for the first counseling, they rejected me in MDU. I'm talking about MDU. So I went back home and I told my parents this is that's happened. So my father was constantly, working out ways to get me admission in there. So after a few days, he got an picture. It was a picture. Yeah, it was a picture of a document, of an email. Actually, it was in text form. The email was in text form. It wasn't actually in the email format. So it was in a text form that the dean of academic affairs of MDU had sent to the HODs of all the departments, instructing them to give admission to all those students whose results were undeclared. Okay, so the dean had already sent such an email, and it was on the very date of my counseling. Though I'll admit that it was somewhere around 2:30 p.m. or 3 p.m., somewhere around that time. By the time I had already long gone from there, but still, this is first of all, it is I believe the dean's fault that he sent the email so late. I mean, you should send such important emails before the commencement of the counseling, right? This is a, this is very pretty obvious. I mean, any sane person would do it. Who send an email after the counseling is already done? And regarding such an important decision on the counseling. And even after that, the counseling committee or the university, they did not bother to communicate with me at all, even though they had my email and my phone number. They did not bother to tell me at all that my admission is still possible. Despite gaining such a high rank, my admission they did not bother to tell me that hey, you can come back. Your admission is still possible. Just to bring your documents tomorrow. And by the time I got to know about this email, it was already too late. All the seats were filled up in the first council. So what happens is my father talks to since he's in police, so my father goes to that to MD University and he asked to get a meeting, to meet the HOD of my department of MA English, And since he's in police, so everybody's like, ha ha ha, who's coming, who's here? Just call the HOD, call the HOD, bring him here. And it was like that. So the HOD comes and he tells my dad that no worries, sir, you just ask your son to come tomorrow and he'll just write a letter to the Dean of Academic Affairs requesting him to increase the number of seats so that he can get admission. He said that this wasn't your son's fault, so the dean can increase the number of seats so as to accommodate him and some other students like him who also did not get their admission because of this late email. So next day I went there and I wrote that letter. First of all, the dean and the sorry, no, dean, the HOD's behavior was very rude. It was highly rude. He was treating me like I was his manservant, and he was just telling me to do this and do that and do that. He didn't entertain me very well. But still, nevertheless, I wrote that letter and I showed it to the counseling committee, which was again there. Except for one sir, everybody else got mad upon a particular word that was in the letter, which was unfairly rejected. I had written that my admission got unfairly rejected. So there was a ruckus about why did you write the word unfairly? How can it be unfairly? One teacher even went so far as to indirectly threaten me that you might invite enmity from the university through this. You shouldn't write this word. It was pretty obvious. He was speaking for himself, but he took the name of the university at large. But still, I told them, okay, ma'am, okay, sir, I'll just remove this word unfair. Then I showed the letter to HOD. I mean, I hadn't edited the letter now. The HOD was taking classes, so he came back while we were discussing it. So I didn't have time to strike out the word unfairly. So I handed him the letter as it is. And then he suddenly busted out. What have you written? What is this? Why did you write so much? Why did you write this? And he also got really angry at the word unfairly once again. Even though I had tried to explain to the teachers that it was not my fault, ma'am or sir, that my admission got rejected. It was either the university's fault, and I'm not even finding faults in that admission counseling. Sorry, in the counseling committee that is in with you guys. I'm not saying that it was your fault. I'm just saying that it was the university's fault at last. That first they sent the letter so late, and even after sending the letter, they did not try to communicate with me. So ma'am said that this will come on our behalf, that we didn't tell you on time. So I told ma'am that ma'am, then you can just simply write your answer. You can say that we received the email very late and the student had already gone by then. How would they hold you responsible? But they were still, they wouldn't even listen to me. And the HOD was the worst of them all. He was like, he really got angry and he was treating me like I was some kind of manservant and I followed his instructions wrongly. And he said, who told you to do all this? Who told you to write all this? You should simply make a request that uh, you want the seats to be increased. And in fact, he had instructed me before that I should write something like the Dean of Academic Affairs has sent a letter at this and this date. And he wanted to indirectly include in the letter that it was the dean's fault. I mean, he wanted to, completely remove his counseling committee out of the matter. He wanted to make it so that it was due to some circumstances that such thing happened. Like it was nobody's fault at all. Like nobody was at fault, and somehow the circumstances turned up in this way. And in fact, he wanted me to indirectly accuse the dean itself. That why did the dean send the email so late? Like there was no fault of the counseling committee, that they did not try to communicate with me despite having my email and my phone number, and despite assuring me at the time of admission that they really wanted me to take admission in their university, that I was a really meritorious student, because I was talking with them in such a way that they got really impressed with me. So they assured me so many times that we want you to take admission. We really want meritorious students like you, and that so and so. And despite this, they did not try to communicate with me, and actually was really angry. So when I asked him, sir, but am I not allowed to write my point of view? I mean, I'm just writing all the circumstances as it really happened. I'm writing all the events as they really took place. But then the HOD got really angry. If you really want to do like this, then write an email. Then write a mail to VC. Why are you here? You are here. I only called you because your father requested me. That's why I told him that he'll come tomorrow and write an email to request to be the number of seats to be increased. So I was like, so I talked to my father, and my father said that why is he trying to avoid his responsibility? Huh? Why does he want? Why does he? Why, no, why is he trying to manipulate you to write a specific things in the letter and miss out specific things? So my father just told me that you go and you tell him that I don't want admission in your university and just come back. So I went to the HOD and I said, sir, my father has instructed me to come back and said that leave the admission process. So the HOD said, okay then go. Okay, fine. If you don't want admission, then go. What are we here for? And then I apologized to the counseling committee as well that, ma'am, sir, I'm sorry if I said anything untoward. And then said, no, it's okay, no, nothing. But I could see through their facial expressions that they were still very angry. I mean, they were angry at me despite my not having any fault in it. Like nothing I did wrong, but they were still acting like they just wanted to eat me raw. And one more thing that I like to tell you is that there were a few students who made in the merit list, especially the first ranking. The first ranker, his name was, I think it was Ravi Rathi, something like that. And he wrote in his category that he belongs to the EWS category, All India EWS category. But one looked at him and you could tell them that he was nothing but short. He was not short of money at all. I mean, all he had was money, obviously, money and influence. That's the only two things he had. And he was part of the students politicians associations and groups and something of like that. Then I saw another person who had made it into the merit list, and he was, he looked 24, 25, 26, something around that age, maybe even older. And when the teacher asked us to write our information, in the attendance page that we have arrived, he couldn't even write properly. His writing was completely, like you couldn't even understand a single word in it. And in fact, I thought that he didn't even know how to write. And he made it to the merit list. And when at that day when I came back to the university to write that requesting letter, the seat increasing letter, when I came back to university, I saw his poster outside. He belonged to some group, he was a president of some group of Shahid Bhagat Singh Association, something like that. And outside was his big photo written below it, Pardeep in bracket Mota. And so he was obviously, so there were so many students from political organizations, from university political associations, who got admission into the university despite having zero knowledge. And the first ranker, I'm giving here an open challenge. The first ranker who held the first position can't even write five complete sentences in English, five proper sentences in English. He cannot even do that. He looked completely, out of, like, he did not even belong to that place. He completely looked, he just, he came in through unfair means. And in fact, later my father told me that he got some inside information that many of the students had given exams with their phones. Like they were allowed to use their phones during examination. And that's how they made it into the merit list. You can clearly see how the departments and how the mechanism of MD universities, is going to to see it simply, the university is going to the dogs. And in fact, the dogs are already handling the university. So no wonder it has no reputation, and no wonder its reputation is going down the drain even more. And then second comes Punjab University. Though I do not know much about the Punjab University, so far I have a good impression of it. But I've read from various places that the student politics in Punjab University is also at its peak. It's, it like the whole university just circles around student politics, and it has become a breeding ground for politicians. That's what I've read online and from many other sources. Though I did go there twice, no, only once. I only went there once to give examination for IES coaching center, which again I successfully cracked. And at that time, the university seemed kind of nice. The campus was really good, and the children kind of seemed. I wouldn't like to talk about the students, though. Like the whole university kind of felt like it was full of sluts. The whole university was full of girls, who had absolutely no dressing sense. Most of them were just in their bras. Most of them just wearing this upper bra. They have this kind of cloth. I mean, it's not exactly bra, but it's in the same shape and covers the exact same area. And they were wearing such shorts that you wouldn't even believe. And it was like kind of, they were like their heads were full of nothing but sexual intercourse and such kind of things. The complete university kind of felt like I had come into a brothel. And so I did not have a very good impression of that as well. But Chandigarh itself is taking a different turn. It's turning into a brothel itself. So I don't have much to say against the university, since since it comes in Chandigarh itself. But this was what I wanted to tell you about these universities, and especially about our own university, the IGNU University, not our own, but IGNU University, and how, because of their uh, anomalies, because of their fault, I have to suffer like this. I have to, despite being a meritorious student, I cannot get admission in any university. And whose fault is it? Is it my fault that I gave examinations late? Is it my fault that I held those examinations late? And is it my fault that my result is still not declared? And nobody's gonna come and take responsibility for this, right? Nobody's gonna come that, yeah, this was our responsibility, and you please give this student admission, and we assure you that we will send his results to you as soon as they are declared and stuff and stuff. They'll just like, we don't care. What does a single student matter to us? What does a few hundreds of students matter to us? We don't care. We're an established university. We are here. We are working in government offices, and we don't treat you like shit. So this is what the realities of today's educational institutions are becoming. I mean, even when I went to the MD University and a teacher was taking lecture there, there were only 4 or 5 students present out of 58 who should have come there, but only 4 or 5 students were there, and the teacher just came and he started blabbering, blah, 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 blah. Some started saying something like that. None of them obviously understood, but they all kept nodding their heads like they understood every word of it, and like they agreed with the professor. So the professor blabbered for about half an hour, an hour, and then went out, and nobody understood a single thing, and everybody is saying, did you understand what the professor said? What was he talking about? And everybody is so confused and clueless. So this is the reality of teaching staff itself. You see, I mean, all the universities, what are the things that attract students most towards universities? First is the campus area, the infrastructure, how beautiful it is, how the infrastructure is. Second is obviously for boys, the girls are the major attraction. Okay, and if you see girls as the major attraction, the main goal of your life, then you should definitely go to Punjab University, because like I said, it's completely filled of sluts. And third is the teaching. There are some serious students who go to universities for the kind of curriculum that they follow, for the way of for the highly educated, highly qualified teachers. But these highly qualified, you forget one thing, that the teacher might be highly qualified in himself, but he may not be highly qualified to teach as well, right? Like, he could be highly qualified teacher, he has lots of degrees, he has studied a lot, he's very knowledgeable, but maybe he has no idea how to teach it, how to communicate it to other students. And this is the dark truth of most of the universities nowadays. The teachers are highly qualified, they are very intelligent, very knowledgeable, but they do not know how to communicate that knowledge, how to pass on that knowledge to other students. They have no idea about it. Okay, and it's mainly due to corruption. It is the most of the main factor in it is due to corruption, because they get they hold these seats by giving money or by some of their connections. If, okay, like it's always like this. I mean, I can't explain to you properly, but there is some inside information I tell you. I won't say it clearly, but then for inside information state that most of the professors, or some specific professors in MDU, got admitted, got their seats filled up through unethical means, through corrupt means. Okay, they got their jobs through unethical and corrupt means. So you're all smart, and I suppose you already know what this is about, what I'm talking about. So you must have an idea. So let me tell you the course of life that you should take from now on. Since I've just told you that how the universities are just simply playing with your academic life. So what should be the way out? What is the way out? What path should you take in order to secure your future? So the first thing is that, at least I'll highly I'll just say that do not take admission in local universities like MD University, Maharshi Dayanand University, that's located in Rohtak. And do not take admission in such universities in any case. Okay, be it any case, you can take admission in Punjab University, right? If you can, if you can hold your mind, if you can focus, if you can maintain your focus, and you do not go wandering aloud in that brothel. Okay, if you don't go sniffing around in every slut's hole, so you can just move around, you can just go around, you can take admission in such a good university, because the infrastructure there is good, the campus area is really beautiful. The administration is also fine. I wouldn't say they're really good. I would say that they're fine. They're at least willing to listen to you. So Punjab University so far is okay. You can take admissions in such universities, in such good universities. But then, you study yourself separately. Don't depend on the professors. Don't even try to think that they should help you or you'll get any kind of help from them. Prepare your separate notes. Prepare your separate study plan. Okay, do not follow them at all. Just go and take the classes. Just do all the formalities. You're just here for the degree, nothing else. Just for the degree, for the infrastructure, for the campus, for a kind of, a kind of burden-free life. But maintain your study plans, maintain your curriculum separately from the class. Do not follow the classes pattern because that will lead you nowhere. And then prepare by yourself. That's the best course that you should take. If you are not able to take admission in such prestigious universities, if you are not able to clear their entrance exams, then simply take admission again in IGNU. I know I have always been against taking admission in there, but after considering the other universities, now I think that this might in fact be the best course of events. So just simply take admission in IGNU. I know the administration and the working staff is really, slow and incompetitive, but still you'll have to do it with it. Especially if you've already taken admission once there, so it becomes kind of impossible to take admission anywhere else, just like I explained, since the university's results are declared really late, and by that time all the admission processes for other universities is already closed. So me myself, I have no other option but to take admission in IGNU again for MA. This is the only option left to me. I mean, I don't even know if this option is left to me or not, because I've heard that IGNU has already extended its admission date 3 times, and this time the last date is 14th of August, and they haven't released even a single of my examinations result. So how the hell am I supposed to take admission in IGNU itself when they themselves have not released my graduation result? And they themselves are asking, when you go to the application form, you go to that form, there is a section where you have to fill your exact percentage that you got in your graduation results. And I do not even have my complete graduation results. So how the hell am I supposed to fill up my graduation percentage? Right? I don't even know what to say about IGNU anymore. But if you do, I mean, IGNU keeps its registration date till the very end of time. Like their registration dates are open to very late time. So you might have this option of taking admission in IGNU. So just do one thing: if you really want to pursue your higher education, just take admission in IGNU or a private university if possible, and then just make your separate study plan, study separately, and just go and give examination. All that you need is a degree. Nowadays has absolutely zero value in itself, but it makes you eligible for admission to higher institutions or do some job vacancy, but it absolutely does not define your intellectual, your academic abilities and capabilities. So with that, now let's start the chapter, the Earth in the solar system. Again, we'll read this chapter in complete details. And before that, I'd like to advise you to create a chart, a kind of like phase diagram where you have explained all the phases of the moons, where you've written down all the phases of the moons along with the diagrams. I've already prepared it, so I can just upload a picture on how you should go about making that uh, moon phase diagrams, moon phase cycle, or like. How wonderful it is to watch the sky after sunset. One would first notice one or two bright dots shining in the sky. Soon you would see the numbers increasing. You cannot count them anymore. The whole sky is filled with tiny shining objects. Some are bright, others dim. It seems as if the sky is studded with diamonds. They all appear to be twinkling. But if you look at them carefully, you will notice that some of them do not twinkle as others do. They simply glow without any flicker, just as the moon shines. Okay, you all know about this. Along with these bright objects, you may also see the moon on most of the days. It may, however, appear at different times, in different shapes, and at different positions. Now, this is the reason why I asked you to prepare a moon cycle, because it will be highly beneficial to you both now and at later times as well. And it may, however, yeah, it is full moon night or Purnima. A fortnight later, you cannot see it at all. It is new moon night or Amavasya. So, ironically, full moon, new moon night or Amavasya is the night when there is no moon in the sky. On this day, you can watch the night sky best because there is no light obstruction from the moon, so the light from the stars is very clearly visible. Do you wonder why? And they have written here, provided it is a clear night. By this they mean that there are no clouds. Do you wonder why we can't see the moon and all these bright tiny objects during daytime? Now this obviously most everyone of you know. It is because the very bright light of the sun does not allow us to see all these bright objects of the sky, night sky. Okay, then the sun, the moon, and all those objects shining in the night sky are called celestial bodies. So now you know what celestial bodies are. Take a note of this. You can simply write it as celestial bodies, then objects in the sky collectively called. Okay, try to keep your notes as simple and as small as possible. So simply write celestial bodies, then hyphen, and then write objects in the sky collectively called. So that you can relate to it. That what are celestial bodies? These are the objects in the sky that are collectively called. Okay, collectively, like when we are talking about them in a group or together, because otherwise, differently, they all have their names. Like the sun, if we're talking about the sun, moon, and all those objects combined, then we'll say celestial bodies. But if we're talking about them separately, then we'll simply take their name. Like we'll say sun, we'll say moon, we'll say stars, we'll say asteroids, meteoroids, and so on. Some celestial bodies are very big and hot. These are the stars. They are made up of gases. They have their own heat and light, which they emit in large amounts. These celestial bodies are called stars. The sun is a star. So write another heading, stars, and then hyphen, have their own heat and light made up of gases. Okay, just make it as simple as that. Countless twinkling stars in the night sky are similar to the sun, but we do not feel their heat or light, and they look so tiny because they are very, very, very far away from us. You must have noticed that all objects look smaller when seen from a distance. How small an airplane looks when it is flying at a great height. While watching the night sky, you may notice various patterns formed by different groups of stars. These are called constellations. Now we come to our next heading, which is constellation, not heading, but just yeah, subheading you can say. Constellations, then hyphen, patterns formed by different groups of stars. Simple as that. Patterns formed by different groups of stars. Ursa Major or Big Bear is one such constellation. I mean, Ursa Major or this Big Bear constellation is pretty common. So, all of you must have already known it and probably remembered it from your earlier time. So, there's really no need to write it down. I mean, you already have it deep inside your permanent memory. One of the most easily recognizable constellation is the Saptarishi. Saptarishi, Rishi sages. Sapt means seven, Rishi means sages. So it basically means seven sages. It is, I believe, also known as the Big Dipper constellation. It is a group of seven stars that forms a part of Ursa Major constellation. Okay, it is a part of the Ursa Major constellation. Let's check it out. What Saptarishi is um, called in the English language. We'll have to search for something specific. The Big Dipper constellation. Okay, so again, I mean, they haven't actually related that Big Dipper and Saptarishi is the same constellation, so we'll have to, search for it specifically. And Saptarishi constellation. In ancient Indian astronomy, the asterism of the Big Dipper, part of the constellation of Ursa Major, is called Saptarishi. See, just like I said, Big Dipper and Saptarishi constellation are the same constellations, and they are part of a bigger constellation that is known as Ursa Major. Now, Saptarishi is called in Hindi, and in English they call it the Big Dipper constellation. So basically, they're the same thing. Here you can see it as well. In this sense, again, see here there are seven stars: one, two, three, four, five, six, and seven. Right? This is the Saptarishi constellation, or otherwise known as the Big Dipper constellation. Ask someone elder in your family or neighborhood to show you more stars, planets, and constellations in the sky, which you can do by yourself as well. In ancient times, people used to determine directions during the night with the help of stars. The North Star indicates the north direction. It is also called the pole star. Okay, right now, now write another heading. You actually don't need to write this heading. You just keep it in mind that pole star is always in the north direction. Okay, pole star is a fixed direction. I think goes by the name of Dhruv Tara in Hindi. So it always stays in the north direction. It is a fixed star. Okay, like most of the stars, we always see them kind of moving. Whenever we move, they seem to move along with us, right? But the pole star is always in the same direction. That's why it is known as the North Star as well. It always remains in the same position in the sky. We can locate the position of the pole star with the help of the Saptarishi. Look at figure 1.1. You will notice that if an imaginary line is drawn joining the pointer stars and extended further, it will point to the pole star. Here. So this here is our Saptarishi constellation. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here are the 7 stars. And when we form a straight line from the last 2 stars or from the first 2 stars, whichever way you want to see it from. But if you form a completely straight line, this will lead you to the North Star. Okay. This will take you to the North Star or the Pole Star. Some celestial bodies do not have their own heat and light, they are lit by the light of the stars. Such bodies are called planets. Okay. Now write down another thing. The sun to earth distance is equal to 150 million kilometers approximately. Okay. So here you might want to read this interesting fact. Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. We know that Saturn has rings. So Jupiter and Uranus also have rings around them, and these are belts of small debris. These rings may be seen from the Earth with the help of powerful telescopes. Like they are considered to be debris from other smaller planets or larger planets that broke down. For whatever reason, we do not know. So the word planet comes from the Greek word planete, which means wanderers. The Earth on which we live is a planet. It gets all its heat and light from the sun, which is our nearest star. If we look at the Earth from a great distance, say the moon, it will appear to be shining just as the moon. Okay, so the Earth also seems to emit some kind of light if seen from outside of Earth, obviously, like if seen from the space. But it does not emit its own heat and light. Earth does not have its own heat and light, and in fact it borrows this light from sun, just as the moon does. Only stars have their own heat and light. Okay. And rest of them share their light. The moon that we see in the sky is a satellite. It is a companion of our Earth and moves around it. Like our Earth, there are seven other planets that get heat and light from the sun. Some of them have their moons too, and some of them have too many moons. Okay, so these you basically know what planets are now, and you can define them. The main thing is defining a planet. It's not about knowing it, but defining. Like I said, that the teacher's job is not to know about things only, but to be able to teach them as well. The solar system, the sun, 8 planets, satellites, and some other celestial bodies known as asteroids and meteoroids form the solar system. We often call it a solar family with the sun as its head. The sun. Okay, now you can read this. Do you know, foreigner? Sol in Roman mythology is the sun god. Solar means related to the sun. The family of the sun is therefore called the solar system. Now you know why it is called the solar system, right? Because in Roman mythology, Sol is considered as the sun god, the god of sun or the sun god simply. And solar means related to the sun. So the planets are seen as related to the sun god, and that's why they are called the solar system or the solar family. The sun is in the center of the solar system. It is huge and made up of extremely hot gases. It provides the pulling force that binds the solar system. Okay, now it also exerts a kind of attractive force that wants to pull the planets closer to itself. But considering the planets, this force is not so great. However, I think in the more millions or billions of years, all the planets will eventually circle themselves into the sun. They will run themselves into the sun and destroy themselves due to the sun's gravitational pull. Not gravitational, I don't know exactly whether to say gravitational, but attractive pull or attractional pull or whatever. Like, it's not important at the moment. So it provides the pulling force that binds the solar system. Okay, and now no wonder the planets are not like moving here and there, jumping around and just moving wherever they felt like or wherever the forces of nature or collisions took them. They are moving in a particular fixed path, right? They are moving in a specific particular path, and they've been moving in this particular path for so many years and years and years. And this is due to the attractive force of the sun, the attractional force of the sun. This the force of the sun that keeps them in their path. Okay, then the sun is the ultimate source of heat and light for the solar system, but that tremendous heat is not felt so much by us because despite being our nearest star, it is far away from us. The sun is about 150 million kilometers away from the earth. Okay, like I told you to write this distance before. Now moving on, planets. There are 8 planets in our solar system. In order of their distance, they are like from the sun. Sorry. In order of their distance from the sun, they are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Simple, right? They have also given us a way to remember them. You can write them from this acronym. My very efficient mother just served us nuts. So the first word of each of these words will help you remember the name of the planets that comes in such successive order. All the 8 planets of the solar system move around the sun in fixed paths. Okay, now these fixed paths are elongated and they are called orbits. Now put down another heading, another topic to add. Orbit, right against it, fixed elongated shaped paths in which planet moves. Simple as that. Okay, fixed comma elongated shaped paths in which planets move. Mercury is nearest to the Sun. It takes only about 88 days to complete one round along its orbit. Now, try to remember how many days Mercury takes to complete its orbit. It's not really important. You don't need to write it down either. You don't need to make a note. But just try to remember if you can. Venus is considered as Earth's twin because its size and shape are very much similar to that of Earth. Now, this is important. So, write another heading, Venus, and then against it, write considered as Earth's twin, comma, similar shape and size to Earth. Till recently, August 2006, that is. I mean, it's not very recent, but the curriculum and the coursework of these NCERT books is really, really old. They never updated, really. So, Pluto was also considered a planet. However, in a meeting of the International Astronomical Union, a decision was taken that Pluto, like other celestial objects, Ceres 2003, UB313, whatever this is, discovered in recent past, may be called dwarf planets. Okay, so now Pluto is dwarf planet. Why it is called a dwarf planet? I mean, the reason is pretty obvious, and it's really rational because Pluto is basically smaller than the size of the continent of Australia. Okay, so you can clearly imagine how small it is. That it is smaller even than an Earth's continent. In fact, even smaller than Earth's smallest continent. Right? No other continent is smaller than Australia, right? So basically, it's so small. Then moving on to Earth. The Earth is the third nearest planet to the Sun. In size, it is the fifth largest planet and obviously the most important planet as well. It is slightly flattened at the poles. That is why its shape is described as a geoid. Okay, it's not a spherical shape. It's more kind of a geoid shape. But still, for the sake of convenience, we take Earth's shape to be sphere. Conditions favorable to support life are probably found only on the Earth. The Earth is neither too hot nor too cold. It has water and air, which are very essential for our survival. The air has life supporting gases like oxygen. Because of these reasons, the Earth is a unique planet in the solar system. From the outer space, the Earth appears blue because its two-thirds surface is covered by water. It is therefore called a blue planet. Okay, because there's so much water on Earth. Water here, water there, and not a drop to drink. Then you can just write one simple line in your notes now. that Earth's shape is geoid. Okay, now you can write this as well, that light travels at the speed of 300,000 kilometer per second. So this is the speed of light. Yet even with this speed, the light of the sun takes about 8 minutes to reach the earth. There's this confusion in my mind that they've written that the distance from earth to sun is about 150, what was it, 150,000 or million? Let me check it again. Yeah, it was 150 million kilometers. Okay. And now they're saying that it takes about 8 minutes for the light of from the sun to reach the earth. So let's say that it takes 8 minutes. So let's convert it into seconds first. So 8 minutes into seconds would be 480 seconds. Then they say that light travels at the speed of 300,000 kilometers per second. So multiply these seconds by 300,000. But then the answer that comes is 100,000, 10 million, 100 million. The answer is 144 million. 144 million kilometers. So basically, through this calculation, the distance between the sun and the earth should be 144 million kilometers. But above, they have written that the distance is actually 150 million kilometers. I mean, even if they take 150 million kilometers as approx, this is nowhere near approx. Even if they want to approx this to 10 million, then even then they would have to approx it to 140 million and not 150 million. And you cannot really approximate 6 million anywhere or 4 million anywhere, right? I mean, if the distance is 144 million kilometer, you cannot simply say that approximately it is 150 million kilometer, because that is a really huge distance. You can simply say that it can be 145 million kilometers, since we're talking about planets. So approximately you can take 144 million kilometers to somewhere around 145 million kilometers at max. So one of these things is wrong. Either they have written the speed of light wrong, or the time it takes to reach the surface of the earth as wrong, or they have written the distance wrong. So NCERT should probably make this correction in the course book. Simply check it on Google. Time light takes to reach earth from sun. So they've written it here as 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, I don't know why NCERT thought about missing these 20 seconds out. 20 seconds are really important when we're talking about such huge distances. So let's calculate again. First, we converted 8 minutes into seconds, so it would be 480 seconds. Now we need to add 2 more seconds into it, which would make it 500 seconds. 500 seconds multiplied by the speed of light, that is 300,000. Now this would make it 150 million kilometers. Okay, so they have written this wrong. It does not take 8 minutes from the light of the sun to reach the earth. It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Now 20 seconds matter really, really too much. 20 seconds are really important. It's a really huge amount of time when we're considering about the speed of light, which is 300,000 per second. So you can clearly imagine how much distance it covers in 20 seconds. And for some stupid reason, they thought about leaving 20 seconds out of the equation. Okay, now you might want to write this down as well, that Neil Armstrong was the first man to step on the surface of the moon on 20 July 1969. Now moving on to the moon. Our Earth has only one satellite, one natural satellite again. Now there is again this mistake in NCERT. They never take details seriously now, do they? So you should write here, the Earth has only one natural satellite, that is the moon. Its diameter is only 1/4. Again, I don't know about about their equations and their measurements. I mean, they've written here as 1/4. It might be very far off from 1/4. It might be bigger than 1/4 or very smaller than 1/4. So I'm not really sure about their measurements from where they take it. But since we're reading NCERT, we have, I mean, even if you write it wrong in an exam, you can absolutely challenge it based on the fact that they have written this information in NCERT. So its diameter is only 1/4 that of the Earth, that is 1/4 of the Earth. It appears so big because it is nearer to our planet than other celestial bodies. It is about 3,84,400 kilometers away. You might want to write this down as well. The distance of the moon from the earth, 3,84,400 kilometers. Now you can compare the distance of the earth from the moon and that from the moon and that from the moon. The moon moves around the earth in about 27 days. Okay, it takes exactly the same time to complete one spin. So basically, what they're saying is that the amount of time it takes for the moon to complete one revolution is also the amount of time that it takes to complete one spin. Spin, spin is like our Earth spins on the same point, bringing forth the day and night. So day and night are the result of the Earth spinning, and the change of the year is the result of the Earth's revolution. So revolution and spin are different things. If I wanna say, so it will end spinning. Sorry, what are we doing? So spinning 3D. Okay, so we'll just take
It's Realme 13 Pro, as clear as a DSLR.
Wow. How?
In this tutorial, I'll show you
So
how to
this
create
is
a basic 3D logo animation
this
in After
here is
Effects
spin,
without using any plugins. So
and
let's
this
jump to the
spin,
tutorial.
this a
First, I'm
single
going to
spin.
create a new
The
composition,
moon takes
name it
about
Render.
27 days to spin like this, on the same place. Although it does not spin on the same place since it is rotating very fast as well. I would have liked to show it to you in 3D, but I haven't really figured out how to use 3D yet. Okay, so moving on. But I guess most of you are intelligent enough to understand what spin and revolution means and what I'm trying to convey through this. The moon does not have conditions favorable for life. It has mountains, it has plains and depressions on its surface. These cast shadows on the moon's surface. Look at the full moon and observe these shadows. Now, here, a satellite is a celestial body that moves around the planets in the same way as the planets move around the sun. Okay, so they basically revolve around the planets. A human-made satellite or an artificial satellite is designed by scientists to gather information about the universe or for communication. It is carried by a rocket and placed in the orbit around the Earth. Some of the Indian satellites in space are INSAT, IRS, EduSat. So this is basically how they launch a satellite. See, first the satellite comes in equipped with the rocket. Then here they separate the satellite and the rocket separate, and the unimportant part of it as well. So here this is the rocket. Here this area is the rocket. Then this is the satellite, and this the satellite going down, and this the satellite finally then launching itself, and the rocket falls back to the Earth. Here they have written the rocket falls back to the Earth. And you must be wondering why these satellites have these kind of panels, right? These are solar panels, and since they are in the outer space where they have 24/7 access to the sun and its heat and light, so it's pretty convenient to just put some solar panels so that the satellite can recharge itself 24 by 7, like all the time. The satellite is recharging itself all the time since sunlight is visible all around the clock in the space there. There's no concept of day and night on space. There's always day. Moving on towards asteroids. So apart from the stars, planets, and satellites, there are numerous tiny bodies which also move around the sun. These bodies are called asteroids. They are found between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. They are mostly found, not found again. Uh, NCERT's habit of skipping out important information and providing misinformation. They are mostly found between Mars and Jupiter, but they are found in other areas of the solar system as well. Scientists are of the view that asteroids are parts of a planet which exploded many years back. Now, when you read the NCERT and then you'll read this section of asteroids and meteoroids, you'll become really confused and you'll start thinking, what are asteroids and what are meteoroids? What's their difference? Okay, now, first to observe this confusion, let's first read it. So, meteoroids. The small pieces of rocks which move around the sun are called meteoroids. Now this is confusing, right? Because they just said the same thing in asteroids as well. See, here they are saying there are numerous tiny bodies which also move around the sun. These bodies are called asteroids. And then in meteoroids, they are saying the same thing. Small pieces of rocks. Now they haven't added the word rock, I know, but these asteroids are also made up of rocks which move around the sun are called meteoroids. Sometimes these meteoroids come near the earth and tend to drop upon it. During this process, due to friction with the air, they get heated up and burn. It causes a flash of light. Sometimes a meteor, without being completely burnt, falls on the earth and creates a hollow. Now, I really don't understand what enmity or what envy does NCERT have with education. They're trying to provide education, but they're doing it in a very wrong way. No wonder, India is still a in development country for so many years and it hasn't exactly become developed. It's more like developing for so many years because all the education system is rubbish. The education system is complete rubbish in our country. It's nothing. It's more like it's completely a business now. It should be renamed from education industry to business industry, or like from education system, it should be changed to education industry because it's an industry that's focused on creating money and not education. So let me tell you what the difference between an asteroid and meteoroid really is, which I obviously learned from some external website. It is taken from NASA's own website. So, asteroids are tiny bodies moving around the sun, mostly found between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. And what are meteoroids? Meteoroids are small pieces of rocks. Okay, they are in size in comparison, they are much smaller than asteroids. Asteroids are actually very huge in comparison to meteoroids, but in comparison to all the other celestial bodies, asteroids are tiny as well. That's why they use the word tiny here. Okay, then there is another thing about meteoroids, much smaller than asteroids and often small parts broken from them. Often meteoroids are not just very small than asteroids, but often they're the part of a bigger asteroid as well. So often a meteoroid is part of an asteroid which move around the sun. Again, they both do the same thing. They move around the sun, but meteoroids, you can say, they are in a sense part of asteroid. And even if they are not part of asteroid, they are very small uh, in comparison to asteroids. This is the difference between them. Then moving on to what a meteor is. Okay, they haven't explained what meteor or meteorite is either. So meteor is when a meteoroid. Now I'm talking about meteoroid. There are three things. First is meteoroid. Second is meteor. Third is meteorite. Okay, it's not roid, it's right. And the spelling is not RIGST but RIOTE actually. Yeah, RITE. Sorry, it's not RIGHT but RIT. So when a meteoroid enters a planet's surface, it is called meteor. Okay, you can take a note of this. You can write it down. You can write down what asteroid is, what meteoroid is, and what meteor is. And now I'll explain what meteorite is. When meteoroid survives the planet's atmosphere and becomes a meteor, and even after becoming a meteor, it manages to land on the surface of a planet or of Earth, say. Now it is called a meteorite. So when it has successfully landed on a planet's surface, it changes from being a meteor to a meteorite. And then there's another thing, there's comet. What is a comet? Some same as asteroids, they are the same thing as asteroid but made up of ice and dust. So they are also tiny bodies which revolve around the sun, but instead of being made of rock, from which asteroids are made up of, these are made up of ice and dust. Okay, so we know what meteorites is and meteors is and meteorites is. So do you see a whitish broad band like a white glowing path across the sky on a clear starry night? It is a cluster of millions of stars. This band is the Milky Way galaxy. Our solar system is a part of this galaxy. In ancient India, it was imagined to be a river of light flowing in the sky. Thus, it was named Akash Ganga. So there's no need to explain this part. Basically, everybody knows what a galaxy is, what universe is, what our own galaxy is called in both Hindi and English. So in English, it's called Milky Way. In Hindi, it's called Akash Ganga. And a galaxy is a huge system of billions and billions of stars and clouds of dust and gases and planets as well. I mean, since the galaxy itself is so big. There's definitely 1000% there are many other beings like ourselves as well. There are probably hundreds, thousands, millions of civilizations, millions of different species such as ourselves. But the thing is that we are so less we have so little advancement in technology that we are not able to reach out to them. There are millions of such galaxies that make the universe. It is difficult to imagine how big the universe is. Scientists are still trying to find out more and more about it. We are not certain about its size, but we know that all of us, you and I, belong to this universe. So this is what sums up the chapter 1. You might want to do the exercises and these, take the correct answer. These MCQs are really low level, but still they'll help you remember all those things you just learned. So this was all for today's video, and do remember to take my advice about the different kinds of universities that are good for you and that are not good for you. Now consider DU University, DU, which is Delhi University. It is very very popular in India. But when I went for the counseling for MDU, I met a guy there who was from Delhi University, from Hansraj College there as well. College again is a very reputed college, and he told me that there's nothing in Delhi University like they advertise it, or like there's this hype around Delhi universities. There's nothing uh, like even similar to that. The professors are good, but they don't really care whether you study or you don't study, because they basically consider you as geniuses or really highly intellectual beings, since you get admission into universities by after getting 98%, 99%, or in some cases 100% as well. So the professors basically don't do much. They basically leave most of the work to you, and they think that since you're so intelligent and smart, you'll be able to do it by yourself. Second thing is the atmosphere of Delhi universities is really bad. He told me the inner reality. He told me that most of the people there do drugs and drink alcohol and just go out for evening walks and don't really care about studying. The only thing good about Delhi University, he told me, is the various kinds of people that come there. From different countries, from different religions, from different cultural. The cultural homogenization there is what Delhi University should be. I mean, it is what is the main point of Delhi University. Is what you should go for if you really want to take admission in there. Besides that, Delhi University is pretty much basically the same as any other university, except for, of course, a certain amount of freedom given to the students. So do heed my advice about taking admission into universities. With any queries, any question, you can just write it down in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer them to you. So till then, goodbye, and let's wait for the next